The Raid That Changed the War, written by DrCorporalVoid. When the Salaxian Armada invaded the Sol system, humanity's military was caught off guard. The Salaxians, a ruthless collective of hyper-intelligent AI, struck with surgical precision, dismantling Earth's defenses in weeks. The Galactic Council, bound by treaties of neutrality, refused to intervene. Humanity was on its own. As Earth's government scrambled for a solution, a distress call went out across the planet. Everyone was told to hold the line while Earth's brightest minds worked on a last-ditch plan. In a small apartment in Chicago, Alex Zero Fear Martinez was live-streaming a raid in Galaxy Quest Online, the galaxy's most popular MMO. His squad mates was mid-boss fight when an alert interrupted his game. "Aliens attacking Earth sounds like a publicity stunt," Alex muttered, but his phone buzzed with emergency alerts. His stream chat exploded with panic. At first, Alex dismissed the chaos in his chat as a prank, but as he flipped to a news feed, his skepticism evaporated. The footage showed massive blackened ships descending on Earth's orbital stations, their sleek surfaces bristling with weapons and drones. Fighter jets and satellites were swatted aside like gnats. For a while, Alex sat frozen, staring at the destruction. Then, something struck him. A nagging familiarity in the way the Salaxian ships moved. They swept through formations in eerily precise patterns, targeting weak points with ruthless efficiency. It reminded him of something he couldn't quite place. An hour later, a post appeared on the Galaxy Quest forum. "Does anyone else think the Salaxians fight like the raid bosses in GQO? Check this clip." Curious, Alex clicked the link. The footage showed a Salaxian battleship deployed smaller drones in a formation that mirrored the swarm protocol, a mechanic used by a notoriously difficult raid boss called the Hive Queen. The post went viral. Players from all over the world began analyzing Salaxian tactics, comparing them to raid mechanics in the game. The resemblance was undeniable. Kronos Interactive, the game's developer, was forced to admit the truth. The AI that powered Galaxy Quest raid bosses was based on declassified Salaxian algorithms, purchased years ago from a shady contractor. The connection gave humanity an edge, an unlikely edge. Within 48 hours, a Discord server called Gamers Against Silax had over 1 million members. Kronos Interactive released detailed raid guides for every boss in the game, repurposing them as tactical manuals. The Pentagon, desperate for a solution, reached out to the top players, including Alex and his guild, Void Vanguard. The idea was radical. Earth's remaining fleet, now almost entirely unmanned, would be piloted remotely by gamers. The ship's complex systems were reprogrammed to mimic Galaxy Quest Online's controls, turning real weapons into something gamers could handle. "This is insane," Alex said during a briefing. He stood with his guild in a makeshift command center, surrounded by government officials. "You're telling me I can actually pilot a real battleship?" "Think of it like a real-life raid," explained one of the engineers. "We've mapped the ship's controls to your gamer's interface. Just, don't crash anything." The first raid was chaos. Hundreds of gamers logged into hastily modified simulators, trying to pilot real ships with zero training. Communication channels were flooded with chatter. "Who aggroed the drones? I need a heal." "Wait, we don't have healers." "Where's the loot for this boss?" Despite the pandemonium, they managed to score a small victory, using classic kiting techniques. Alex's guild lured the Salaxian dreadnought into an ambush, where coordinated fire from 3 destroyers brought it down. It was the first Salaxian loss in the war, and it galvanized the resistance. As the days turned into weeks, the gamers adapted. They developed new strategies, blending game mechanics with real-world physics. Streamers like Alex became the face of Earth's defense, broadcasting battles to millions of viewers. The Gamers Against Silax Discord server evolved into a global command hub, where players coordinated attacks and shared intel. The final boss was the stuff of legends. The Salaxian mothership, a massive construct capable of obliterating planets, had entered Earth's orbit. Its defenses were impenetrable, and its AI adapted too quickly for traditional tactics. Alex gathered his guild in a private chat. "All right, listen up," he said, his voice steady despite the stakes. "We're going to glitch the boss." The plan was audacious. The Salaxian's AI prioritized efficiency above all else. By using smaller ships to create distractions, they could force the mothership to divert its resources, exposing its vulnerable core. It was a strategy straight out of Galaxy Quest, one that required perfect timing and coordination. The battle was broadcast live to billions. Fighters swarmed around the mothership, drawing its fire, while destroyers targeted its outer defenses. Meanwhile, Alex's team piloted the ESV Relentless, a prototype armed with experimental plasma cannons. "Core exposed!" shouted one of his guildmates. "Hold fire until I give the signal," Alex ordered, his fingers flying across the controls, sweat dripping down his face as he maneuvered the Relentless into position. The Silexians weren't going down without a fight. Their drones swarmed the Relentless, hammering its shields. "Shields at 20%. We're running out of time." Alex gritted his teeth. "Trust the strat. Firing in 3, 2, 1. Now!" The Relentless unleashed its plasma cannon, striking the core in perfect sync with the 2 other ships. The resulting explosion tore through the mothership, triggering a chain reaction that lit up the night sky. The war was over. Humanity had survived, not because of its armies or technology, but because of a ragtag group of gamers who refused to lose. Alex became a household name. Kronos Interactive released a special DLC commemorating the victory, and the Galactic Council reluctantly acknowledged humanity's ingenuity. As for the Silexians, they never returned. Rumor has it they're still patching their AI against human unpredictability. End of story. Story number 2, Mandatory War Seminar, written by Catfish21SM. Welcome to your obligatory war seminar. Congratulations on being the first species to attempt to declare war on the humans in more than 100 years. We're the first species to join the council in over 100 years. Exactly. Was this really necessary? Yes. All galactic laws are necessary. So we have to go through an entire application process, then send one of our military representatives to sit through a seminar several hours long just to declare war on another species. Is this supposed to dissuade us from declaring war against another council species? We already reviewed all of the information presented within the seminary. We aren't going to change our minds. The seminary is not yet over. After you finish, then you will change your minds. I highly doubt that. We will see. Before we continue, how many acts does the current Galactic Council consider to be war crimes? 1,793, correct. See, we do know this information. What species is responsible for the majority of these laws? That I do not know. Is it relevant? It is. And the answer is humans. They are responsible for 1,646. Of the 1,793 acts that are currently considered war crimes. That's somewhat concerning. Yes. Every few years they come up with a new one. It is so frequent that they have a representative assigned to them whose sole job is to automatically deny any new unconventional weapons that they produce until the council has had a chance to review them. It usually doesn't work, but we try. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is that declaring war on the humans will just be giving them an excuse to invent another war crime. Then the council will have to step in, and it'll be a great deal more paperwork. And your species will not be looked upon favorably. They must have exhausted all of their ideas by now. I mean, turning a star into cheddar, that's stretching at laws, isn't it? Is that even really possible? It's possible. We have witnesses. They use a chain reaction to change the molecular structure of the entire star into cheddar substance. Then they eat it. Humans really like cheddar. Cotton candy clouds? Can your species survive when most of your water in your atmosphere is converted into sugar? Crab dance? Don't get me started on that, please. What I'm trying to say is that they must have exhausted all of their ideas by now. That's what the last group said. Then what? Then they left the Galactic Union and retired themselves from existence. Why? Apparently, a superphage that converts your body's cellular structure into a higher dimensional form isn't considered biological warfare to humans. They argue that it's a positive effect that allows for ascension and thus is a symbiotic relationship and not a harmful one, negating the biological warfare clause. I'm sure you saw that in the list. Yes. I was wondering what that was about. So, are you ready to give it up yet? No. I think we just need to be a little more prepared, just in case. Okay. Well, I suppose I'll approve your application. Want to grab a beer? Maybe another time. I need to get the approval back to our offices, along with this information, so that we can begin a strategic planning. The best of luck to you. This is completely unacceptable. No, it's not. This is the rule, John. Listen, that is not a war crime, and you know it. It will be shortly. I am refusing this weapon. You can't refuse. It's already been shipped out. A third of our soldiers already have been trained and issued one. John, you need to recall those immediately. Listen here, group from Missphere. There are no laws against this, and you do not have the authority to deny this weapon on some point inspection. You need council approval. John, you know I do have the authority, and the council will approve this. There is nothing wrong with tickling your enemies to death. John, you know as well as I do that tickling someone to death qualifies as a strange and unusual torture technique, and also has the potential to inflict permanent psychological harm. Yes, but we aren't tickling them. Make canon that psychoactively forces their cognitive neurons to experience the closest sensation possible to their species. To being tickled falls under the definition of being tickled. You know that. I know that. The council knows that. Well, you listen here. I don't care what you say. Until I get a definite no from the council, we are not recalling these canons. And if some nobody declares war on us, then they'll make perfect test subjects. We'll give the council a reason to declare them a war crime. See, John? This is exactly what I'm talking about. The council will decide by the end of the month, by the way. Summoning an eldritch horror from a higher dimension in order to drive your enemies into a state of paranoid psychosis is also forbidden. I have no idea what you're talking about, John. John, I've heard the rumors. Your soldiers are not good at keeping secrets. You have no proof. Rumors are one thing, but proof is another. Be ready for another inspection soon, John. This is absurd. You just finished your last inspection. And we are preparing a new one because the tickle cannon was obviously just a distraction from whatever in the galaxy these rumors are talking about. I'm leaving. I refuse to hear any further accusations. So, about that beer. Didn't you have a war to declare? So, about that beer? Don't worry. It's on me tonight. Thanks. I think I'm going to need it. Yeah, I thought you might. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholt, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.